Hi there, this is Vahid from VRF Education channel and welcome to another session on creating chat application using Qt framework. Well, this session is not a continuation of the main sessions, and today I'm just going to answer a couple of questions that channel subscribers asked me a couple of times. And these type of questions, most of them are somehow related to boundary checking or validation of data before sending and this kind of things. So as I told you before in previous sessions, this application or this server and client application are not a full application. I'm just created them to show you how to send data over TCP/IP protocol from a client to server and vice versa. So always we need to be careful about this kind of checking in our applications, and take into consideration one principle: code to fail. It means that you need to look for the potential problems or issues in your code and prevent them. So let's go and see how we can solve this kind of problems, especially these two first and second questions, and then we go on the next. So here, first of all, I'm not gonna let a client to connect to a server more than once. What does it mean? Let's run a client, and also I'm gonna run a server application. So here we have a server application and a client application. I press connect, so a new client connected, and if I press connect, this is enable again. So if I press connect again, another connection for this client created on the server, and it's not correct, it's true. So we need to do a couple of things in our client application. Most of the time, developers try to disable this action after connecting to the server. This is a good approach. You are preventing the action from the source, but always, especially in web applications, you need to do things in addition to or alongside with the client side in the server side. So what does it mean? Let's get back here, and inside what? Let's see what we have here. We are let's collapse all the codes and do a couple of code cleaning. So here I need to do something in the chat item. No, in the chat, not this one. In the client manager, let's see what we have. We have signal for connected and disconnected. Let's see what did we do with them. We just connect the connected signal to this one, so that's good, and also for disconnected. Okay, so we have these signals in client manager, and inside here setup UI on action triggered. Here, after receiving connected, I'm gonna do one thing else. I'm gonna say UI dot action connect dot set enabled false, and also on disconnect I'm gonna say UI dot action connect dot set enable true. So whenever I connect it to the server, I'm going to disable this action in our client application. Let's run it and see the results. This is our server. Let's also close it and run it one more time. Okay. Here we have the server application, and it's our client application. So when I connect to the server, this option will be disabled and you cannot click on it anymore. And if I close the server or disconnect it from the server by any means, and if I run, so here the connect action this enabled again, and we can use it, but we need to run the server one more time, and again we can connect to this server one more time and send data. So that's, but it's not enough, and we need to do one more thing in our client application. Let's go to clients, and here I'm going to comment these two lines of code. So our queue action, connect queue action, is always enabled, and we can click it more than once. So we should do some checking inside connect to server. This method is the place that we start to connect to the server. So we need to check if we already connected to the server, ignore the rest of the codes, especially this line of code. So I need to do what? We need to check something. If socket dot state, we need to check the state of the socket. The return type of a state socket is socket state, and here we have a couple of items in our enum. This one is very important. If we are in connected state mode, we don't need to connect to server anymore. We already connect to the server. So I'm gonna say if the current state is not equal to qtcp sockets connected state, go ahead and call the connect to server. That's it. And this is for scenarios that due to some things happen in the background, we want to connect to server without need the user to connect to click on connect queue action. So that's it. Sometimes we are doing things in background, so we need to add the type, add the checking or the criteria to do something in the back end. If it's in the UI file, that's okay, but we need to have it in the backend because we might have a couple of ways to reach to this method. So let's get back to main window, and we have something here. As you can see, on action connect, we instantiate the client field. So we need to move it also to another place. I'm gonna instantiate it inside the constructor. So if we leave it here, every time we click on action on connect queue action, we just create a new instance of our client or our client manager. So in that client manager, the socket is in unconnected state. So we again connect to server. But in this way, we just instantiate it once in the constructor, and then we going to check the connection to the server through the same instance every time. Now let's run the client and also run the server one more time. This is the server, and waiting for clients. Oops, something happened here. Okay, maybe, yeah, I need to delete something here. We don't need this one. Let's run one more time. Yes to all. So this is our client application, and I'm gonna first connect. So we connected to the server, and if I click the connect, once again nothing happened because we already connected to the server. But if I close the server and open it one more time, let's open it one more time. Because we are in unconnected state, we can click on this option once again, and we connect to the server. So this is how we are going to prevent the server to connect to prevent the client to connect to server more than once. So we just solve this one. Let's label it solved. And for this one again, we need to do our type checking in two places, in the client and UI. Now I'm gonna uncomment the codes I added here because they're useful. So we're going to prevent this action to be clicked when we are in connected state. And let's see what we're going to do. We have a text changed as a signal for our UI-ln message. Every time the text inside this text message change, we need to check if it's something the trimmed text is something except empty string, this button should be enabled. Otherwise, we can disable this button. Let's see how it's going to work. So instead of connecting this signal to the slot inside the client manager, I am going to do what? Let's add text change a slot. Text change, where is it? Text change a slot. And also, I'm gonna comment this line. I don't need it anymore. Instead of that, I'm gonna say, okay, go ahead and call client.send is typing message. And before that, I'm gonna check the content of argument 1. Or we can directly read the current text of this line edit. They're the same. So I'm gonna say if arg1 dot trimmed. I'm going to trim it because a space is not good for sending through messages. Dot length greater than or is equal to 0 or equal to 0 equal to 0. We can do it something like this. UI.btn send.set enabled, but this one I'm going to attach it. I'm going to send it as a parameter to the set enabled. If it's equal to 0, if it's greater than, or if greater than 0, okay, enable the button. Otherwise, disable it so you're not able to send empty messages or just white space messages. Let's see what we have. I'm gonna close this one and run it one more time. But anyway, if you press a space on the server, its typing methods will be appeared. So this is the client and this is the server. I'm going to connect to the server. This is client 1. This one is for previous run, and I'm going to press a space. You can see the button is disabled, and we need to disable it in the beginning. So if I type something, you can see the button enabled, and this time button disabled, so we can send it. But if I press a space, you cannot send it. And let's see, I'm gonna send it one more time after resending, because we just assign empty string to this line edit, or set as the text of this line edit, this button getting disabled again. Before getting forget, I'm gonna what? So it's disabled by default, and let's see. So why this is enabled in the beginning. If I press connect, so this is enabled, and that's somehow strange. Let's check it. This is the action trigger, and when we connect, your central budget set enabled. So I'm gonna explicitly disable the btn send.set enabled, set enabled false. So that's true, because here I disabled, maybe because here I disabled the central widget, they are all getting disabled. Yeah, that's true. That's because of that. So if I add this code here, if I connect it, I am going to set it as disabled. Okay, that's it. And again, just like the previous problem, we need to check for this send message inside the client manager class. Here, when we are inside the client manager, inside the send message, we need to check if message dot trimmed dot length is greater than 0. Go ahead and send it over this socket. This is because we might call this send message method from somewhere else, not btn send. We call it directly and pass a message that is not trimmed. So and something, we don't need this parentheses anymore. So it's better to have this checking or this validation inside the client manager alongside with the UI. So this is for other way that we call the send message. And this is it. Let's see again. Let's see. We also solved this one. And oops, I saved it. It says, how can you make the colors change for different clients or make it a random color? And this is again, let's see what we can do for this one. I'm going to use a simple approach for colorizing our client's application. For this purpose, I'm going to generate a random color based on 3 different values, red, green, and blue, and assign it as a style sheet to whole application. This is one solution, and you can use another one. Here I'm going to say I need a value for red. It's equal to, in Qt 6 we have, or Qt provides a class named QRandomGenerator class. In previous version you can use a QSRand functions. It's deprecated somehow in version 6, so I'm going to use that class. Let's bring the header file here, include QRandomGenerator. QRandomGenerator, I'm going to use the global in order to get access to a global version global instance of this class, and then use generate value. So this generate, it's gonna create a queue uint32 values. So I'm gonna divide it or mode it, find the mode with percent operator with 255. This is the range for our colors in RGB system, and I'm going to duplicate it for green and blue. After that, I'm going to create a color. It's equal to QColor and pass those generated values, red, green, and blue. And after that, I'm going to use QApp method to get access to an instance of the application that is going to be run on this client, and then call the method. Oops, set style. Something went wrong. QApp set a style sheet. So here I'm gonna provide a string. Let's also define it as a variable here. It's a QS string. I'm gonna apply this style to all widgets inside my application. The background dash color, it's equal to something, and that color should be the color, and call the name function on that. So this is going to convert that color to something that we can use inside a string, and after that I'm going to apply this style to the whole application. So let's run the application and see the result. So something went wrong. It says could not parse application style sheet. That's true because I forgot to close the bracket. Let's run it. Here, as you can see, we have a pink like application. If we run it one more time, this is really pink, this is green, and this one is blue. So we have 4 different application with different colors, and also you can pass this color as an option for the server to inform that this client run with this color. So we can colorize the tab widget inside the server with the same color. This is something that you should do it on your own. So we also make this one solved. For the next one, we have a lot to do. First of all, I'm going to create a command that query the server and fetch all the client's name. Okay. For this purpose, we need to change the business for setting name of clients on the server. So if we have a repetitive name, we should inform the client that the name that you chose is not appropriate. I'm not gonna implement that part. You should implement it by your own. So here we just query the server and receive the list of clients, and I'm gonna show the list of client inside the combo box here. So you can send the message to the server only, or to the all clients, or to a specific client. Let's see how we can do this. It's a little bit time consuming, and I'm thinking about to do this inside this session or postpone it to another session. But I think because this session is somehow not the continuation of the main service, and I was supposed to implement such things to implement client-to-client chats. Let's talk about this feature in another session on the main story. And in this session, we just focus on answering to FAQs and also describing the process for client-to-client chats. So I hope you enjoyed the content and find the answer to your questions. Till next session and implementing client-to-client chats. Goodbye. And also, I'm not gonna push the changes in this session to the server, and with the change for the client-to-client chat will be pushed together to the GitHub repository. So till next session, goodbye.